In a few days, many families across America will be coming together to celebrate Thanksgiving, seen by many as a day of giving thanks and appreciation. While so many families celebrate the holiday, very few know the real origins of the day. Even less people know the history of Thanksgiving and what's the true purpose of celebrating it. If you're interested in hearing what you were never told about Thanksgiving in school, stick around to the end, because you might just learn why they want you to blindly participate in it. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the truth about Thanksgiving that you weren't taught about in school. Let's get right into it. Every year on the last Thursday of November, many people around the world celebrate Thanksgiving by coming together with their family to have a feast. People come together and eat like kings, gorging on turkey and mashed potatoes and pumpkin pie, all while giving thanks to being with family. I remember Thanksgiving as a child was always great, as I was surrounded by family members while eating more food than we ate all week. Even though Thanksgiving was always great, I never really knew why we celebrated it. I was told in school it was due to the Pilgrims hosting a feast for the Native Americans. Now, as an adult, after researching many of these holidays for myself, I came to the realization that Thanksgiving might not be at all what we expected. The holiday's history goes much further back than the Pilgrims, tracing all the way back to the times of the pagans. You might be thinking that Thanksgiving is harmless since it's all about eating and coming together with your family. The thing is, most people don't know what Thanksgiving was originally created for. It had nothing to do with pilgrims, but with giving thanks to the pagan gods. Now, before I continue, don't get me wrong, my intentions with this video aren't to ruin Thanksgiving for anybody. I am not telling anyone not to celebrate Thanksgiving with their families. That's not my point with this video. My goal with this video is to help people know the truth so they can determine if this is something they even agree to celebrate. I myself stopped celebrating holidays completely, as they all have a history that doesn't align with my Christian beliefs. If you saw my video on Halloween, then you should already remember that Halloween is also a pagan festival called Samhain. Last year, December, I also made a video on Christmas, which is another pagan festival called Saturnalia, which was celebrated by the Romans to praise the god Saturn way before it was converted into Christmas by the Catholic Church. Just like Halloween and Christmas, Thanksgiving is no different. Thanksgiving's true origins have nothing to do with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, as Thanksgiving could be traced back much further. Thanksgiving is actually a pagan festival that was celebrated by the Celtics and the Romans. The Romans were known to celebrate a much earlier version of Thanksgiving that people celebrate in modern times that they called Saturnalia. The festival was in honor of the harvest goddess of grain called Ceres. On this day, the Romans would feast and celebrate with friends and family just like people do today. The Celtics used to host harvest celebrations as well, in honor of the good harvest granted by the gods. This festival eventually became the British festival called Harvest Home. Even though Harvest Home didn't take place every year on the same day, it was still meant to celebrate the good harvest. There was also a separate religious holiday that was called the Day of Thanksgiving, which was practiced in the Church of England, where people would pick one day to give thanks to God. This may be how the holiday got its name, but all the Thanksgiving traditions, especially the Thanksgiving feast and the foods of choice made for the feast, all trace back to these two pagan festivals. A lot of the traditions we incorporate with Thanksgiving traces back to pagan roots. For example, the cornucopia is a Thanksgiving staple, and it can be seen in many images associated with Thanksgiving. The cornucopia is the horn basket with fruits and vegetables sticking out, usually seen on Thanksgiving decorations. The cornucopia was very important to the Romans' harvest traditions, as they believed it traced all the way back to the gods. The Romans believed that a goat had ripped off his horn and gave it to Zeus. He told him that as long as he had the horn, he would never go hungry, as the horn would reproduce food on its own. This is why the cornucopia basket is always shown full of food. We can see the pagans had an obsession with the horned beast, as we see time and time again the Baphomet goat worship coming from the Romans and the Celtics that traces back to Moloch. Another famous Thanksgiving tradition is eating a big old turkey, as it's the center dish of the feast. Many families across the US celebrate their Thanksgiving feast with a turkey, not really knowing why. The turkey is associated with the Native Americans, and they see the animal as a connection to the land, similar Similar to the Celtics and the Romans, they worship nature and the gods. This is why Turkey has been chosen to honor the harvest. What many people don't know is that all these holidays are connected to one another. All of the holidays happen in this specific order for a reason. Halloween comes first, as Celtics and the Romans celebrate Samhain. They would perform rituals and sacrifices for the gods of death in order to have a good harvest. Then, Thanksgiving takes place to give thanks for that good harvest. The entire festival is to thank the gods and those who were sacrificed for the good harvest. And then comes Christmas, which is Saturnalia, which the Romans believe was the birthday of their god Saturn. It's important that people know that Jesus Christ was not born on December 25th. You can easily look this up. That idea actually came from the Roman Catholic Church, who wanted to keep their Roman pagan beliefs alive by merging them with the rising Christian beliefs that gave birth to the Catholic Church. They celebrated Saturnalia to honor the gods who had blessed them with a good harvest. This is why every year around the end of the year, these big three holidays take place. And we hear people begin to talk about the upcoming holidays. Every single year, people follow these pagan festival cycle without asking why. Because most people won't really research these things, they never know that they're participating in pagan traditions. If you're a Christian, then I believe it's important to know what you give your energy and worship to. These holidays are made to direct your worship to pagan gods. When Yeshua died for our sins, all other pagan religions started to die. His movement was so powerful that the fallen gods all began to fall. So those who worship these fallen gods found a new way to worship them and convince people to do the same. These holidays are simply created to manipulate people to blindly participate in pagan traditions. These holidays have become normalized to the masses, so they blindly participate in them. Our people are sadly lost, as they have been tricked with false narratives and lies. A lot of people believe Thanksgiving is a holy day, and that is spoken about in the Bible, but it's not. The main tradition of Thanksgiving goes directly against the Bible, which is the feast. The Bible speaks against gluttony, warning God's people not to partake in the activity. We obviously know why gluttony is considered bad, as eating more than necessary is not good for anyone. Thanksgiving is a festival that glorifies gluttony and eating way more than needed while celebrating the God who granted them the harvest. This is a big problem for Christians because in the Bible it clearly instructs us not to give our worship to any other god. Thanksgiving is so popular in America, and it's because America is built off these greedy values of having more than you need. We praise materialism and money over faith in God. This is why the Thanksgiving traditions work so well here. Having a feast with way more food than needed is such an American thing to do. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I didn't make this video to tell any of you guys not to celebrate Thanksgiving. If you want to celebrate Thanksgiving, I'm not judging you, and I respect your decision. I understand that it's a day that the family comes together and spends valuable time with each other. And that's beautiful, and I encourage you guys to always embrace your family. With this video, I just simply wanted you guys to know the truth about the holiday. There's a reason why this holiday was celebrated, and it's to honor the sacrifices made for the good harvest. It's just another pagan tradition that we have been manipulated to celebrate. Like I said, spending time with the family is important, but you don't have to do it on a day that's used to honor pagan gods. Maybe pick a different day to spend with your family. Don't give these fallen gods power by celebrating holidays created to honor them. If you are a Christian, your worship should only be directed to the one true God, Jehovah, also known as Elohim. We the people should know what we are participating in and not just follow what we are told. We need to show that we're not puppets and our worship only goes to the one true God. Those who run our world believe the masses are just sheep to herd whichever way they want. We must prove them wrong and show them that we are smarter than they believe. What most people don't know is that the elite come from the same bloodlines that worship these pagan gods. They are still keeping up with those pagan traditions and deceiving millions to do the same. Now, I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts below. Did you already know this about Thanksgiving? Did anything I say today change your views on Thanksgiving or any of the holidays? If you still choose to celebrate Thanksgiving, no judgment. At least now you know what the holiday is truly about. Like I always say, we must remember that every day we wake up, our souls are at stake. And we also must remember to help those who can't see the truth find the truth. Well, that's it for this one. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.